The United States fell short at the FIBA World Cup in the summer of 2023. The roster that the Americans sent was far from the best they could assemble. Immediately after the tournament, the country's biggest stars started speaking up about their willingness to come play Olympic time in 2024. LeBron James has reportedly been recruiting the players who he thinks should suit up for the team. But at age 39, is LeBron even a lock himself? With only 12 slots available, some megastars are going to miss out. In this video, we're taking an early look at who we believe should make the roster. And we have some extremely polarizing opinions. Let's dive right in. Before we start announcing players, let's discuss a little philosophy. For starters, why did the Americans lose the World Cup? The team didn't have any of their best players. But aside from that, a lot of the players that they rostered were unable to play cohesively. It wasn't that they weren't willing to pass the ball. If anything, it was the contrary. Players were reluctant to play as aggressive as they typically would since there was so much talent surrounding them. The team's hesitancy slowed down their pace and gave their opponents more time to react to them. Additionally, their opponents had more chemistry playing with each other, and more significantly, they were more accustomed to playing within FIBA rules and on the slightly smaller FIBA court. The Americans, who were quite accustomed to playing on a bigger court with rules that endorse more speed and skill. These factors led the Americans being outsized, out-rebounded, out-disciplined, and outmatched by Lithuania, Germany, and Canada. In order to avoid that this time around, the Americans are going to need a bigger and more physical team without compromising skill. Players are going to play specific roles to maximize the team's output. The Americans will need their stars to be stars and their role players to star in their roles. The roster must give its coaching staff versatility and options while also taking chemistry into consideration. The team coaching staff will be led by Steve Kerr, Eric Spoelstra, and Greg Popovich. These men all have experience coaching FIBA, have worked plenty with some of the best players available, and have proven track records of winning. The starting lineup isn't set in stone. As the tournament goes on, the staff will figure out what works best. But the truth is that roles and minutes should be figured out earlier than later. Adjustments will be made throughout the tournament, but some players are going to be given 30-plus minutes per game if they're healthy. Stephen Curry. We believe that Stephen Curry should be the team's starting point guard. He's the best shooter in league history, can play both on and off ball, and has championship pedigree. Stephen Curry should see a whole lot of court time in this tournament. We think he should play approximately 35 minutes per game and should be highlighted in various lineups. Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's another player that should be utilized as a starter and built around. The 6'10 forward can score the ball with ease and can play on the ball, away from the ball, and can play defense. He has chemistry with Stephen Curry and Steve Kerr. Durant and Curry should earn the lion's share of minutes in this tournament for Team USA. LeBron James. We've opted to slot LeBron into the starting small forward spot for this team. At age 39, he might not be the star player of the team anymore, but we love what he brings. LeBron has played in more big games than anyone else in the world, is extremely efficient, brings tons of size, rebounding, and is a pass-first player. He'll pick his spots to attack, but will also find his teammates in their favorite spots. Kawhi Leonard. Whether or not Kawhi sticks in the starting lineup isn't the most critical decision that needs to be made before the tournament, but in our opinion, if he's healthy, Kawhi needs to be on the Team USA roster. We believe that he's one of, if not the best defenders that the country has available to them. He shot over 40% from three last season, can get buckets at will, has a great psyche, is a proven champion, and will make the U.S. more physical and harder to play against. Anthony Davis. At this point, we're only building a roster with players that we expect to be available, and at this point, that doesn't include Joel Embiid, who hasn't committed to either of the countries that he's eligible to play for yet. That means we're choosing Anthony Davis to start at the 5. In terms of defense and rebounding, he's the best that the country has to offer. He has chemistry running the pick and roll with LeBron and can stretch the floor when needed. Now for the bench. This is where things get extremely difficult. With so many stars available, we had to leave some amazing players off our roster. Devin Booker. Our first bench player that we're taking is Devin Booker. He's a lethal scorer that'll either start at the shooting guard or can step in. He'll have chemistry playing with Durant and is too lethal of a scorer to disregard. Jason Tatum. We only have so many bench roles for players like Tatum and Booker that love to have the rock in their hand. But Tatum's got to be one of them. Right now, Jason Tatum's one of the best scorers in the entire game, as evidenced by his 30 points per game last season. He's also a strong rebounder who pulled down almost 9 rebounds per game for the Celtics. Forget about role, Tatum is too good to leave off this team. Bam Adebayo. Up next, we take our second center, Bam Adebayo. He might be undersized for the center position, especially compared to some of the beasts that play the position internationally, but Bam will be up for the challenge. At 6'9", Bam is a defensive juggernaut who can contribute to this team in multiple ways. He won't be the team leader in scoring, but that's the last thing the U.S. needs. He'll bring defense, toughness, rebounding, is an exceptional screen setter, and one of the best passers from the center position. He would look amazing with all the shooters and scorers that the U.S. will have on the roster, and will definitely be utilized in lineups alongside Anthony Davis or other bigger players in matchups against larger opponents. Jimmy Butler. Much like Bam, Jimmy Butler will bring plenty of physicality to the U.S. roster. He's as physical a defender and fierce a competitor as you can find in the league. He has chemistry with Bam and Eric Spoelstra. He might not be as skilled as some of the players we're leaving off the roster, such as Paul George, who's our first man out, but he's proven to play his best basketball when it matters most. If Team USA let the tournament slip away because they lack tenacity, they would regret not inviting Butler. Klay Thompson. At this point in his career, Klay may not be the most athletic player on the court, but his style of play will make him a great fit as a role player for Team USA on a FIBA-sized court. First of all, this guy has plenty of chemistry with other players on the team, as well as head coach Steve Kerr. He's won 4 championships and made the finals in 5 of the past 8 seasons. And most importantly, he fits onto the roster because he's the best catch-and-shoot player in the league. Klay's coming off a season where he led the entire league in three-pointers made and shot them at over 40% accuracy. Unlike the other players on this list, he doesn't need to dribble to be effective. His style of play, along with his championship pedigree, make him a better fit as a role player than other players with superior skill sets at this point in their career. Draymond Green. For many of the same reasons as Klay, we think Team USA should invite Draymond Green as well. For one, with so many scorers on the floor, the team doesn't necessarily need another guy to put the ball in the hoop. Instead, Draymond's one of the best in the league at getting teammates open looks by making passes and setting screens. Green might not be needed and could potentially serve as a bench player, in which case his championship experience, attitude, and insights would be invaluable. But for a team that has a short time to create chemistry, Green could be an ideal fit. If the team is unable to mesh, throwing out a lineup with, say, Steph, Klay, Draymond, KD, and maybe Kawhi Leonard in Iguodala's role, would have plenty of experience playing together and would give them more chemistry than most of their opponents. On top of that, Draymond is one of the best defensive players that the country has to offer. De'Aaron Fox. Last but not least, with the 12th roster spot, we think that Team USA should select De'Aaron Fox. Once again, we realize that there are better scorers available, but we think Fox is a better fit in the role of backup point guard. The game plan should be to have Curry playing the vast majority of minutes in the point guard spot. To back him up, Team USA should roster a player that can effectively change the pace and give the team a different look. Fox fits that mold. He's big, fast, athletic, and energetic. He's coming off an outstanding season for the Sacramento Kings and a role that gives him 8 to 16 minutes per game. He's a better fit than the alternatives. That leaves the final roster as follows. These decisions aren't easy to make, but the lineup options, versatility, and chemistry that this team offers are endless. What do you guys think of this roster? What would be some of your favorite lineup combinations? And in your opinion, what changes do you think should be made? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more sports insights.